candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead the promised land? The mist is flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The cry, candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead the promised land? The mist is flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will spin. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the...
Good afternoon, everyone. And today, these are the candidates standing for the Horowhenua Constituency of the Horizons Regional Council. But for every election, there's one thing that they'll be standing in their way, and that is your vote.
Memorial. Okay, live from the Shannon Memorial Hall, and we will be getting through to all the candidates there. Now we'll kick off with 1 minute. Was it 1 minute statements? Sorry, I've lost my train of thought just there. So candidates will get a 1 minute opening statement. Josephine, would you like to go first?
Kia ora koutou, ko Josephine Takawingwa. I have a diverse background in health promotion, social policy and community engagement. I believe I can bring a fresh perspective to council to ensure community voice resonates in all council actions. With the current economic and political climate, uncertainty is all around us. I can bring a certainty of increased community consultation, relationship building and council actions that will bring a positive impact to our residents. More than ever, we need to be strict on our budgets. We need to connect to our communities and we need to make actionable change to improve our environmental health. Let me bring your voices to the council table so we can have better informed discussions on what matters to our community. So tick Josephine to a vote for your voice.
Okay, next up, Hamish.
Thanks, John. Thank you. My name's Hamish Easton. I hope to bring a balance and practical leadership to this role. And I've grown up in the Horowhenua. I was born in Foxton, so I've seen this region grow over time. And I've been a local business owner now for a long time, and I've sort of got this staff in place to be able to put the time and dedication into this role, because it does take a fair bit of dedication. So basically, I like to think that I've got the ability to work with others. I may not agree with everyone, but you have to work together. So, I'll do my best to try and do that as well. And that's sort of my pitch towards everyone there. So vote Hamish.
Okay, let's bring in remotely. Luca, your opening statement.
Kia ora, thank you. So I'm Luca Jansen. I'm 35 years old. I live just out of Tukumaru, the local, been there for 15 years, went to university in Palmerston North, studied. I've got a Bachelor in Resource and Environmental Planning. I've got over a decade of experience working for councils, and now I work for an industry body, which I really feel passionate about. So in my work, I help reduce paperwork and just make things more workable on the ground for our farmers, so we can enjoy the produce across the country. So yeah, I work with regional councils and also central government regulations. So I know and want this position so that I can help our area grow and thrive.
Okay, and next up, John, your opening statement on why the Horowhenua voters should give you their their ticks. Sorry, I nearly flipped into STV just then.
Thank you. My name is John Girling. I'm currently the chairman of the Te Awa Health Foxton Community Board. I've served on the board for 9 years now, and over the period we've been able to pull together members of the community to get things done. And one of the interesting things we've done recently is we've been able to get people from different councils, different organisations sitting around the same table, so we can actually discuss things and make them work. And we've worked very successfully. We've worked with Horizons and got drainage work done on time and on budget, which is important. We work with DOC and areas like that to get their responsibility going as far as areas like the internationally famous Ramsar sites concerned. And I believe that we should listen to people and pick out from those people the things that are going to be mutually beneficial for everybody in our community. We have a wide, exciting community, and we need to support.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you for that, John. Okay, so let's get to the fun part here. This is the bit here. Nick, can you see to my camera a little bit more? Yeah, it just feels a bit off, but all good, all good. Okay, so let's get to the fun part here of the box questions, where we get each candidate gets to pick a box number, and they get to, and then I read out the question, and they will be able to sit there and give their answer to the question. Now, just for those at home who are also wondering, each candidate has 2 button cards. If you want to put in a button, you raise your button card, and when the original candidate finishes, then we'll let the second candidate chuck in with their additional answer to the question. And if a question becomes a bit too curvy and not want to answer it, you can also use your defer card. At the moment, no one has yet to have used their defer card on. Have we had someone use a defer card yet? We've only had one. Would like to keep it at 1 for the rest of the season, and so if you can help keep it on there, we'll sit there and love that. Luca, you get to choose the box number. What box number would you like? Sorry?
Sorry.
10, no
please.
problem. Oh. You really know how to mess up all the numbers there, Nick. I know. It's like... Okay. I know the fun part about changing things at the last minute without telling anyone. Okay, we've got letter M. So M for Mike. Concerning the central government messaging about councils being a core reason for the cost of living crisis due to wasteful spending, do you think this is the case? Why or why not?
I mean, rates are going up, and that's different to your taxes that you pay. I think it is a mix. It's not to blame just solely the councils. Central government has also been creating new regulations that regional councils then need to implement. And I know this from working at a council, that there is a lot of regulations out there, and they all do cost a lot of money on the ground. So it would be unfair to just say that it was a core reason why there's a living crisis. And it's a lot to do with trade and other things that you can't control. It's complex, but yes, I hope that answers the question.
And thank you for that, for the audience for clapping. John, what box number would you like to pick?
I think you should pick the box, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, number 3 is very easy for me to reach. So let's go for number 3. And for, it is U for uniform. With a largely rural area covered by the council, but some local success stories in terms of industry growth in areas like Fielding, which is in Horizons, also like Levin, how can the council best support economic growth across industries and sectors?
That's a very interesting question, because regional council is not really concerned with promoting industry from that point of view, but they do control the resource consent. And the resource consents are very, very important. And one of the things that puts people off developing businesses is the fact they lose so much time waiting to get resource consent. That system should be speeded up and made much more efficient and much more clear for people to understand what they are supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it.
Thank you for that. Okay. Josephine, what box number?
I'll do lucky number 8, please.
Lucky number 8. Is that? No. You should not have changed the whole order. Yeah, where the hell did you put it in that? No, that's not 12. And you got 9 and you got number 11. It's doing my head. Sorry, it's doing my head in, because it's like I had it all perfectly set up.
That's how we take his knowledge.
Yeah. My lucky number 8. That's not the one on the ground there, is it?
No, that's why I just checked.
Okay.
Can I just grab number 5?
Yeah, 5's great.
Yeah. Sorry, we've traded in for number 5 because we're yet to find number 8. Yeah. Okay. H for hotel. So that's the question letter. Do you support central government introducing rates caps onto local authorities, and why?
I think it's quite an interesting question, thank you. I don't support the rate caps. I think it would hinder the services that Horizons actually can provide. Rates are a very complicated situation in that you have to balance a budget of what services can we provide to the community while also trying to keep the rates at a low rate so that we're not impacting our communities, especially during this cost of living crisis. If we look at Australia and them implementing rate caps, there wasn't a good history of it. They ended up having to increase it more dramatically later on, which impacted their communities and impacted the services they were providing. So I don't think that the government has been looking at it very clearly from the regional point of view or even from the local council point of view and what they're actually providing to the communities. And they need to maybe relook at that a little bit more to find different avenues of us to reduce our rates.
And we have a button from Hamish.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Josephine. That was great. Just to add in on that, I get it in principle what they're trying to do there to stop the extreme rate rises. But there are other avenues that they can do, and that's just borrow more debt, and that just pushes the can down the road. So I wouldn't encourage that either, but it could also help them to seek more funding from central government as well, because the rating system is pretty crude the way it's sort of collected, and you need the help from, you're going to need a share of revenue from central government more in the future.
Oh, and we got more buttons from John.
Thank you. I'd like to just carry on from what Hamish has just said. The most important thing about councils is that their main source of funding is from rates and from fees. And the central government continually give them more and more tasks to do and more responsibilities and no more funding. That is the big problem. They need to have a different source of funding. One of the suggestions that I keep hammering about is they should give them a part of the GST from their area. That would help them with the spending in the area, from the spending in the area.
Someone's speaking my language. Yeah, Luca, jump on in. We should have made the question.
Yeah. I actually fully agree with what he's saying, that yeah, you could use GST. You've got to look at other ways to fund the services, and have a good look at what services we actually provide and whether they can be a central government funded service. Does it make more sense? There's no point of us repeating the same thing in each region, reinventing the wheel. All of that planning costs a lot of money. So yeah, you've got to be more efficient. And for that reason, I think, yeah, maybe you could have a rate cap if you're looking for other ways to do things.
Okay, and it's quite interesting. I'd love to know if the government would be willing to actually put revenue caps on businesses, particularly their donors. Sorry, just cheeky jab on that one, but I think that might be a good point to put on there. Would they put revenue caps on businesses that, oh, sorry, your revenue can't go up by 3%, more than 3% this year? Yeah. Hamish, what box number?
Sorry, take the nearest one to you.
I did stretch over to number 7, but that's all right. We managed to make it work. Oh, now here's this great one. Letter L for Lima. Do you think that Māori wards such as our own Rakia Māori constituency and Tonga Māori constituency strengthens democracy? Why or why not?
Yeah, great question. I mean, Horizons has voted on this and have allowed to have the 2 Māori seats. I wouldn't necessarily say I was against it. Does it strengthen democracy? Well, I guess it gives minorities groups a voice, which is, if you look at central government with MMP, you know, that's the system we run there. If you can get the 5% threshold, you get a voice, because it's pretty hard at first past the post to get a voice. So you could argue, yes, it does strengthen democracy. And I guess the only concern I probably have is, in general, the lack of candidates that have stood in those positions, although it's good to see in one of the seats there's about 4 standing. So, yes.
And would like to also point out Elijah was the only candidate in Raki who actually participated on the show. So that was something that has happened on there. Okay, we've gone through 4 candidates, 4 questions. So let's get across to Luca. You get to choose the next box number.
I'll go stick with the middle. 14, please.
No, that's 9.
Maybe my eyes aren't very good.
all right.
Let's see. Number. Anyone will do.
The whole point of it being at the seat is me not. We've heard that. clearly not listening. At least I own my mistakes. I don't know. Let's trade it in for number 2 while we're trying to wonder what's happened to number 14. Yeah. Okay. T for Tango. What do you see as the main difference between Māori landowners and hapu in the terms of their relationship with Horizons Regional Council?
That's interesting question. I'm not sure. It could be interpreted different ways. I guess I would interpret it in terms of the council's regulatory obligations, maybe under the Resource Management Act, and there is a difference between iwi and hapu and engagement. So generally, like under the RMA, you'll need to engage with iwi groups who then will be able to engage with the hapu within that. Ultimately, the iwi group at the top, and then there may be multiple hapu groups within that. Would you like to ask the question a different way? Is that what your question is?
That's the way how it was presented to us, because these come from the public, and that was the way how it was presented with the modification of it being Horizons Regional Council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my answer. Sorry, that's my.
That's all right. That's all right. It's your choice how you answer it. I mean, I can't sit there and tell you answer it wrong. If I did that, that would be absolutely rude and disrespectful. And any member of the public who does the same thing, that needs to be pointed out. Yeah.
Can I butt in? Or?
Yeah, go ahead and butt in.
Just carrying on from that. I guess if you look at, I'm just trying to interpret the question a little bit, because it is hard, and I can see where Luke is struggling a little bit with it. But I guess with Māori landowners is in respect to title, and so they probably deal with horizons more in a regulatory sense, like most landowners, whereas hapu could be interpreted as having more guardianship over their ancestral lands, which aren't necessarily owned by them, but so it's more of a guardianship. So like more of a consulting with council. I don't know if that helps it a little bit.
Okay, Josephine, what box number? 8. Oh, I'm glad I haven't sat there and what's he called? Lost it. W for whiskey. What do you think? Well, no, I read it wrong. Why do you think you are why you're right for a role as a councillor?
I think there's multiple reasons why I could be a right fit for this role. I bring a lot of respect to any table that I sit at. I've worked alongside councils in multiple of the roles that I've been in, and it's really about not just bringing your own opinion to a table, but also respecting everyone else's opinions and listening to what they have to say as well, and taking in everything they have to say so that we can deliberate effectively and action things in councils effectively as well. I think the main part of council that I can bring is that I'm amazing at relationship building. I can invite collaboration as much as possible. I think collaboration with community and different groups is the main factor that we should be bringing to council, and I really hope I can bring that to council effectively.
Okay. Hamish, what box number?
Pick number 1. It's right next to you.
Don't have to stretch out too far. Okay. Going to be having a bit of a trip hazard with the safety department at the rate I'm going. Okay, we've got I for India. What are your views on the restoration of wetlands to their natural form in the Horizons region?
Yeah, I had a look at this question, and are we? I mean, basically, if you go back sort of 180 odd years when wetlands were starting to be drained, and the reason behind them was to make the land more productive and to pay the bills for New Zealand. So I think everyone understands what wetlands do, and you know, they're a bit like the kidney in the human body. I think that wetlands are a great idea. What I'd like to know is how we're going to fund that, and if there's compensation for landowners if it's going to make some land unproductive, because some of these wetlands, especially out on Hamatangi sort of coastal land, like they were 300 acres in size, so they were massive. And the lakes are still there; they're just smaller in size. So I guess you're going to have to look at, you know, who's going to pay for this. There's an economic reality of it. Thanks.
Okay, John, what box number? Well, before we go, Josephine's got a button.
In regards to the wetlands, I think the restoration of it is a great respite for our environment. We've had a lot of things happening in our environment it's not always productive, and I think restoring it to its natural form is giving better environmental health. It's giving cleaner water. We're enhancing Māori values as well to restoring it back to its natural ways. And not only would it be beneficial to the community, it's beneficial to our health through the environmental health. And yes, I do agree that the funding of it, it can be hard, and if making that a priority and trying to find the budget of it for it can be quite difficult. If we can make it a long-term goal so that we can have an environment for my grandchildren and their grandchildren that they are proud of and can live within, I think that's a goal that we should definitely strive for.
Okay, John. Thank you, audience, for clapping. What box number?
We'll try 11, please.
11. I've succeeded in that task.
Congratulations.
Okay. Z for Zulu. Half of all registered planes in New Zealand have Z in their name. What's one big opportunity or challenge you see for the region?
I like that question. One of the important things that affects me and my opinion about the Horowhenua generally is the fact that we do not take advantage of the tourist market. And we are on the route between the north and the south. We're just outside Wellington. We have a very beautiful area. We have some very interesting things here. We have some interesting establishments. We have some interesting wetlands, funnily enough, and we have some very effective farmlands as well. And there's this huge tourist opportunity. And when you look at tourism in New Zealand, you very rarely see Horowhenua mentioned. And I think that that's part of the regional, the Horizons Regional Council area, and there's not a lot of tourism in that area either. So we should push to look at the discretionary dollar for the travellers that pass through New Zealand. There's more than just Queenstown and more than just Ruapeo.
Oh, you so struck perfectly there, and you are so right. And I'll be honest, when driving between Auckland and Wellington, I'm guilty for it, but I don't tend to stop unless it's for visiting family. That is so true. It used to be Bruce for a long time, and then now it's my dad from when he's home. We're off for a new round of boxes. Josephine, you get to pick this box number. What box number?
15, right at the front end.
Okay. Letter Y for Yankee. Given the benefits of more of a more connected regional rail transport network, how can governance structures support the integration of the passenger rail service between Horizons and Greater Wellington Regional Council, and what steps are needed to ensure an equitable funding, accountability and service delivery across both regions?
It's a very long question there.
I think it's about the capital connection.
Yes, the capital connection. Yeah. So I've looked into it quite a bit actually, and there's developments happening for that connection to connect our beautiful Horowhenua to the Wellington region, and obviously Palmerston North as well, because it's essential that we are connecting our communities. Like John said, that it's a tourist attraction. We need to be bringing more people here. We need to make it more accessible. And so to ensure this, we need good communication and good collaboration with our Greater Wellington region, and making sure that we are funding this equitably. So I'm agreeing with the question. They are asking how are we going to do this, and that would be something to sit down at council and talk thoroughly about and get everything on the table so we understand what's needed for that.
Okay, Luca. Oh, we got a button from John.
Yeah, thank you. When I saw that question, I didn't know a lot about it, so I reached out and I spoke to Horizons about it, funnily enough, and I got a very good response from them, which actually enlightened me, and I'd like to enlighten the voters as well. It says the Lower North Island rail project, which is Capital Connection, has been characterised by a close working relationship with Greater Wellington, Horizons Chair and the Greater Wellington Chair, and both chief executives and senior staff meet on a regular basis regarding the project. Historically, both councils have advocated strongly for the retention of the Capital Connection when it has been threatened with termination beforehand. Okay. We now have an arrangement whereby the service will be owned by Greater Wellington rather than Kiwi Rail, which I think is probably a step forward. And Horizons has a legally binding management services agreement with Greater Wellington that specifies services in the region and a cost allocation. In other words, the passenger service for the Horowhenua Council have agreed to fund a new live-in bus service, and that is planned in the next financial year. But I must add on there, we need to think of areas like Foxton and Shannon where there is absolutely no public transport whatsoever. And these areas need and deserve public thing. There is an idea called a beach hopper possibility, which comes down from all the beach communities right the way down as far as Kapiti Coast to link with the rail system down there. And I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, now we have a little bit of a dilemma here. Hamish has used up all his buttons, but we'd like to put the motion out to the public and the members here. We'd like to add all candidates to have an additional button card. For those who are watching at home, please type an I in the chats. For those who are in the studio, yell out I. I'd like to repeat, all those in favour say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. You can now have another button.
Thanks. I didn't realise we had a limited amount.
Only two buttons. That's why there's two cards.
Fine.
And I keep a list.
I just wanted to add to it, just because Horowhenua is going to grow with the new road now going to be north of Levin within 4 years. We're going to be putting in all this infrastructure. It's going to start costing money, and this is just another sort of plug about external funding. We're going to need central government to come to the party with revenue sharing to make this all work. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Luca, what box number?
Thank you. Maybe one, if I can see that. Yeah.
We've got one gone, but I've got with an easy reach. I've got 6, 5, 9.
Yes, 6 is one.
Yeah. 6. Oh, this pesky background card. Okay. F for Foxtrot. There has been much media coverage about candidates' behaviour towards their fellow councillors over the country. What are your personal values that make you a suitable candidate to be a councillor?
That's a great question. I think respect to others is just fundamental. Having empathy for others as well. And that just comes down to, being able to build a relationship. I think I can build a relationship with almost anybody if they're willing to. So that just comes down to having a good behaviour, being a role model. I wanted to be in this position because I looked up to candidates and politicians when I was a child. I thought, wow, they're doing really well for the community. And so, anyone willing to put their foot forward is doing a good job, in my opinion. So, putting themselves out there.
Thank you, audience. Hamish, what box number?
I think I can see box 9 next to you, so we'll go with that.
We'll go for box 9, or Iwa in Te Reo Māori. Okay. Letter S for Sierra. How can regional council improve collaboration with local authorities and central government to strengthen civil defence systems and ensure a more resilient regional response to emergencies?
We should already have this in place. That would be the ideal goal. I've seen this a little bit. I was here in the out on farms in 2004 floods nearby here, where we all got evacuated out, and there wasn't actually a lot of systems probably back then, because you're going back 20 odd years, and it actually worked reasonably well. But they pretty much went door knocking to do that, and then after that there really wasn't a lot of coordination in behind it, once people were sort of out of harm's way to start with. So what I would say is that Horizons should have good staff with great systems in place, and they should have the right contacts to be able to handle these civil defence emergencies. And also there has been an inquiry in Cyclone Gabrielle, so there should be a lot more learnings out of that, because that obviously affected down this region, North Manawatu and over in the Taurua district.
Just a little supplementary, was that what led to the sealing of the Wharekino Road after that flood? Because I'm not sure when it was sealed.
Basically it breached down by the bridges on the old trestle bridge, which has now been replaced, and it broke near and there, and once it broke, it basically it cut the channel through and then backfilled right up. So, but it wasn't only just down here; it was breaking all over the show, right the way through to Palmy, and it was a complete disaster for the region. Took a lot of clean up and effort afterwards. I mean, you can't do much about those kind of weather events, because no matter what system you probably had, it may have broken them. Although I can't remember if there was an issue where it did break through down this end, but it definitely went over the banks further up.
Yeah. Okay, John, what box number?
I see 14 is right under your elbow. 14, there you go.
Oh, we talked about this before. You've got A for Alpha. What political party are you linked to?
Absolutely no political party at all. I am standing for local government and for regional government because I want to represent the people. And I want to listen to the people and try and get the best for them. That's the whole purpose of this form of election. If you're a member of a political party, you have to go by their criteria, their manifesto, and that is not where I come from.
Okay, so we've finished that round of box of questions, and let's get to another. And John, you get to continue in the hot seat and choose another box number.
Another box number, God. 27 is fine.
I like your choices. Okay, we've got C for Charlie. Should rural communities have a say in the operations of council-owned rural water schemes?
Of course. What a strange question. Rural communities have a say in the operation of council-owned rural water schemes. Councils are responsible for administering the schemes. The local communities are involved in using the water in the schemes. Of course, they need a say in it. They need to be able to discuss what's happening, understand all the shortfalls, all the challenges, and get things done for the best advantage.
Perfect. Okay, Josephine, what box number? And I still go for something a bit of a jump. So we've chosen 19. And we're going to go for G for golf, which Donald Trump plays a lot of, but I don't think he'll be happy with the local golf courses within the Horizons region. Oh, this is another one that's going to be a bit of a stir. The government and the taxpayer union have been accusing councils of being irresponsible with large percentage rates increases. What is your view?
It's very similar to the rate caps debacle, in that there's a lot of pressure on our regional councils and our local councils of how many services they actually needed to provide to our residents, to our communities. And I think it's often forgotten at a central government level. And so we need to provide these services. They're essential services such as infrastructure that's going to withstand years, such as an environmental health, so that obviously we have the environment for our grandchildren and their grandchildren, such as services that connect our communities like public transport that needs to be increased, because right now we have silos of small communities that could easily be interacting with other communities but just can't get there. And so I think the issue of rate rises is that if you have an issue with it, maybe you should try help us instead of criticize them.
Oh, that is a great one of, it's like, instead of helping you change the tyre, they're going to sit there and bark at you while you struggle to get the nuts off the tyre to change it on the side of the road. Is that the best way to describe it? We have a from John.
Okay, a passing comment there, looking at the big picture. We have a beautiful small country here with a very small population, right? We have 5 million people, just over 5 million people in the whole country, and we service a very large area. And the problem is that we want first-class systems everywhere, and they cost money. And so we have a challenge. And how we overcome that challenge is by bringing in more tourists and getting their money from outside and working that way. We just can't afford to do everything ourselves. We need other people's money.
Okay, Luca, what box number?
I'll go again for the one closest to you, 25, please.
25. Gee, I do like that, how you seem to know numbers better than me on that side of the counter. Oh, now, I just warn you, this question has slightly changed from what it was to better reflect the area we're actually in, because there's no point talking about fielding. It's more important to talk about the Horowhenua. What is your policy position around the public transport services, particularly around the frequency of the 401 and the 402 Levin to Palmerston North commuter service and the 403 day out of town service, on retaining the existing service level, increasing it or reducing it?
That was still a bus service to Fielding, though, in that question.
No. The 401 and the 402 are the bus services, the commuter bus services that go from Levin to Palmerston North. And the 403 is the bus service that goes from Levin to Shannon, out to Foxton, out to the beach, back into Foxton, and back into Levin. And it's basically the 403 is a once a week service, and the 402 is the State Highway 57 version of the 401, which the 401 goes through Foxton, the 402 goes through Shannon on its way to Palmerston North.
Awesome.
That was question D, though, wasn't it?
D, yes.
Thank you for clarifying. That's awesome.
That's all right.
Yeah, there's been a lot of strong community interest in improving the bus services and the timetable. and the routes. And yeah, I think it's extremely positive for Horowhenua to have more bus services available. Yeah, I think it's really important for those services to be age friendly, and we need them also to future proof. Like Hamish mentioned, we're growing, and I think by having those services there, they will get used more. I think it is important that we ensure that we monitor those services and get feedback from those users to make sure that they're working well on the ground, the tables work, and we can make improvements. But yeah, I think it's a real positive for our area. We definitely have missed out in the past, so good to see that get some more buses.
Okay. Hamish, what box number?
Closest to you. Yep, 21.
Oh, yes. The voting age in 1949. I know that because that's the first year my grandma voted in, which I think our audience members at home probably know that very, very well by now. We've got J for Juliet. Spending needs to be within budget without increasing rates. What services or luxuries would you stop?
Yeah, well, first thing that probably that comes to mind with me is the new build on the new office. I don't quite understand how with a rate pool of 70 odd million a year, how you can sort of justify a $54 million build. I would have thought there was better options out there. Surely there's enough buildings around Manawatu to be able to lease to house the extra staff that they supposedly have. I just think it's going to add a lot to rate increases down the track. So that's what I think.
Okay, and we're off for another round of questions. And Josephine, you get to go up first. What box number?
Sorry,
Go
one moment,
for-
please. We have a button from Luca first.
Okay, sorry, button from Luca.
Thank you so much. I just want to reiterate what Hamish said. I think, people are really struggling to put food on the table in our area. There's rate increases, not just this year, but in the years to come too. And I think, at this time when things are tough, we just, a luxury building, a big building is hard. And I don't know about, I just don't think it's justified that council gets in the business of development when we need to focus on core services.
Okay, what box number are we going for? 22. Okay, so okay, letter AB for Alpha Bravo when it wants to talk. What's your biggest priority for the next term, and how do you intend on delivering on that?
I think there's multiple priorities. I think coming in with just one priority is just, it's not strategic. I think coming in with multiple priorities, because there's so many different services that the council handles. Obviously, I want to prioritise the connecting of the community, so our public transport, and getting that underway and making sure it's effective, efficient and cost effective as well. Taking on environmental stewardship seriously as well, and making sure that our environmental health is put first and forward in every aspect that we do. And then also, I just have a willingness to get stuck in and doing any of the hard jobs. So sitting around the table late at night, making sure that the discussions are thorough and we aren't just making decisions based on small bits of information, but the larger information and getting the whole picture of it.
Okay, Hamish, what box number?
I'll go with 16.
16.
Over the back there. Yep. Keep going.
So a bit of a stretch. Sorry, I need a chair that has wheels on it, so maybe next time I book the venue, I ask for a swivelly chair. Okay, for Romeo. What role should regional councils play in developing and implementing effective flood protection measures?
Well, I would have thought that was a core role. It'd be one of the first things you'd look at, to protect people's properties. And I'd probably just about leave it at that. It is. It's a core role.
Okay. John, what box number?
20.
20. No?
That's it. No, one. Next one down.
I was going to say, I really need that swivelly chair.
All longer arms.
Yeah, I'm nearly 2 meters tall. Okay, V for violin. If you are elected as a councillor, will you decelerate council spending on unwanted projects and concentrate on vital, necessary infrastructure such as roading, which I know is a city district council thing, but obviously something that's equivalent for the regional?
I think that's a very good question. Two things apply here. First of all, we need to look carefully about what unwanted grand projects are. They've been mentioned before in this little session here. Whether we need a brand new building or not is a question. But as an elected councillor, you're part of a group. And as an individual, you can't decelerate anything. You can only discuss it, and you can only persuade your fellow councillors to actually act in unison in one area. So we have a democracy. It's not necessarily the very best form of government, but it's the best we have. And these things are discussed around a table, and you can put your point of view, and I would put a point of view to, in fact, reduce what I call flashy spending, right? And to bring it down to the real necessities that we can afford to do.
Sounds like a lot of council staff might have been in Porticon buildings instead of big swanky 10-story buildings. Okay, Luca, what box number?
14, please. Oh, sorry, 12.
14.
12.
Yes.
B for Bravo. Do you support political party endorsements in local government candidates?
That's a good question. I think it's hard enough standing. It's a cost. It's very costly on individuals. I'm an independent, not within a political party. But I think if people align with the central government party, then I'd have no worries about that. If that's going to get someone to stand, ultimately, the community has an ability to vote, and they can make their own choice on who they choose. So, yeah.
Okay, off for another run. John, what box number?
What numbers have you got left?
Oh, there's a 26, there's a 4.
24 is fine. That's good.
24. K for Kilo. How do you plan to use deliberative democracy to ensure residents can directly contribute to the challenge of our urban-rural community faces?
Good question. One of my favourite ones. I believe that consultation is very important, and consultation means actually talking to people, listening to them, interpreting what they're saying, digging down to get the real facts before making decisions on anything, and listening to more than one person at a time. Now, you get bringing groups together. We've been very successful in doing that, getting groups from different areas and different interests together, sitting around the same table, discussing what they perceive, what their perception is, and how we can get the best thing for the majority of our people.
Okay, Josephine, what box number? So 13. Unlucky for some. P for Papa. What skills do you possess that will enable you to effectively collaborate with central government on regional planning projects such as the Otaki to North Levin Expressway?
Well, I've effectively collaborated with multiple councils in multiple roles, and I've created policies and bylaws with them to better our community. So I think I have the communication skills and the relationship skills and the respect to listen and hear what other people have to say and their opinions on things. So I think I possess the effective collaboration to work within central government and any other local councils to help us work together as a country to build a better country.
Okay, Hamish, what box number? Number 4. Okay, N for November. What will you do to stop poor council expenditure, allocate resources to critical infrastructure, and rein in huge increases?
I mean, basically, you've got to go back to what's been budgeted for and go through each line and have a look and see what is, and just actually have a look. What's the core responsibilities of council? What are the actual needs that actually need to be done, not the wants? And then try and work from there, basically. And like an inverted pyramid, you can start pretty broad and then narrow it down to the tip, basically, until you sort of got what really does actually need to happen. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Yeah.
Okay, Luca, what box number?
The one closest to you. Yes.
So 26. Okay, Q for Quebec. What budget line items would you remove to help bring rates down in the Horizons Regional Council without disrupting basic services?
Yeah, there's a few, but I'd say the new building, I would have to say. And I know that staff have to work somewhere, but a lot of resource goes into having to plan, develop the site. Maybe you could work with a developer, sell the land to a developer, or someone else to build it to make sure staff are in a good building and have the resources that they need. But yeah, it's just we do need to focus on core services. So that answers the question.
Okay. Now, Luca, you get to pick the next box. You've got 28, 17, 18, and
18,
23.
please.
18. Oh, yes, the voting age as we hold it currently at. Okay, E for Echo. What is your position on the use of 1080 in the Horizons region for pest control, pest management?
So firstly, pest control, it's really important. Not only does the Regional Council use 1080, but also the Department of Conservation. So I know that, we've had a goal, central government's had a goal to reduce pests by 2050, yet ungulates, such as deer, goats, pigs, have increased by 67% since 2017. So something clearly isn't quite working. So I think it's really important that we look at how we can get pests under control. The risk is too great if pests get out of control in our region for our rural communities. and also our natural environment. So yeah, I think it's a problem that's happening across New Zealand, and we need to work with central government on solutions and have a range of tools in the toolbox.
Okay. Okay. Hamish, what box number?
28.
Okay, we've got X for X-ray. What governance mechanisms are in place to ensure that spill management at the Moafango Dam complies with regulatory requirements, safety standards, and environmental obligations, and how are these mechanisms being monitored and enforced?
I saw this question. I thought it was a little unusual, but to have been asked. But so something must have happened. So, but I'm unaware of. But the Building Regulations Act that was brought forth in 2022 and then amended in 24 around dam safety. And originally it was going to include dams on farms of up to 1 metre high, but that's been taken out. So now it's basically if a dam is 4 metres tall and holds more than 20,000 cubic metres, it falls under this. And so councils actually have to adapt to align policies for safety response and mitigation under that act. So, you know, Horizon should have something in place to cover that. Yeah. But it was an interesting question. I'm not sure where it came from.
Give a bit of back. Yes, we'll get John with the button before we get to the background.
Thank you. This question is another one which was completely foreign to me, so I reached out for research on it, did some research on it, and spoke to Horizons about it because I thought it was quite important. Because Horizons does cover a very large area, and the response I got basically that the chief executive was actually involved in the resource consent because he was earlier the Horizons Resource Consent Officer in the early 2000s, and related to the Genesis Energy the consenting process for the Tongariro Power Scheme. There is a comprehensive compliance monitoring program built into the situation in the resource consent decisions. Given many of the conditions, sorry, can't quite read it, related to the dam consents, they deal with residual flows and water diversion requirements such that the monitoring is subjugated through telemetry that feeds back to Horizons. It's very well looked at. There's a possibility of resource consent. The Tongariro Power Scheme will have new resource consents in the next 5 to 10 years. And so the Horizons strategy and policy agenda is publicly available, and we'll have to comply with that.
Okay, and for some background context of what happened there was, it was 2 Vinegar Hills go where I was up there. The dam was spilt and released, and there was no way to contact the Vinegar Hill camping ground that was along the river. And the only reason how we found out the dam was spilt was because the local cop in Hunterville sat there and heard it on the scanner, jumped in his car, not in uniform, drove to the camp and sat there and notified the people there was get out the river, the dam's been spilled, and be prepared for a flood warning overnight. And it was an unplanned spill as well, because it does state as you go into the Vinegar Hill one there, it does give you the dates of the spills, but this was not a usual planned spill, and it's not in the normal times of when they would have done spill, because it was, I think it was around New Year's when it happened, which is not, they normally do them near the 15th of the month. Yeah. Okay, Josephine, what box number?
23.
Okay, question AA. Would you support a predator-free campaign in your constituency similar to predator-free Wellington?
As Luca was saying with the 1080 question, our goal is obviously to protect our environment, protect our rural communities from predators, so that we can have thriving rural communities. So I think, yeah, the ultimate goal would be to be predator free. How we get there needs to be thought about budget wise, and what resources we're putting on in there, and if we're going in too strong all at once, or if we spread it out over the years so we get to the goal but we aren't rushing there just to get to the goal and then at the expense of our constituents and their rates and what they're paying. So I definitely think it's an idea that's positive, but we need to think critically about it.
And John, what box number would you like to pick?
I think it's number the last.
Number the last. So for box number the last, we've got the letter O for Oscar. Well, this is an interesting one. Issues around climate change are becoming more important. What are candidates' thoughts on supporting any robotic digestion of food waste to produce biogas similar to the plant in Reparar? Please note, this is not an incineration of general waste.
Okay, this is an interesting question. The anaerobic digestion of food to produce biogas is quite an effective system as long as the system is built effectively. That same system has been used for both for sewage and for food digestion on farms with producing gas to run plants on generators and stuff like that on farms. There are systems which are very effective. I think they need to be researched. And when I came back here from China, I was very enthusiastic about the pyrolysis system of getting rid of waste. And I think that's another area which needs to be looked at very carefully, because we need to look further afield than what we've been doing for the last 25 years. There are some wonderful systems around. Europe are using some very good waste disposal and food waste disposal systems. We need to look at them and see how they can be applied to our particular area.
Thank you, candidates. Now, just before we go, we'll take a little bit of housekeeping here. It's in the Ballot Productions as an organisation, as an independent non-profit organisation funded on small dollar donations. So you, the viewers, and the community are the ones who help keep our shows going. Our budget to sit there and run this particular production day, venue cost $166 to hire the Shannon Memorial Hall from 1 p.m. till 10 p.m. to do the setup and the pat downs. We also have the fixed cost of the Starlink connection of $14 per day to broadcast to the internet, and our stream hosting services is $31, and also our fuel cost for going here is $200, and our budget for refreshments, which we haven't got any at the moment because we've got no money, is $50. So if you'd like to sit there and keenly help out, it's in the ballot. We would be very keen on you to sit there and chuck a donation into our Give a Little page. You can also head to our Eventbrite page and do a koha without donation, koha without admission ticket option, or you can also deposit money into our KiwiBank bank account, which is available on itsintheballot.nz. We will take a quick 10-minute break to give the candidates and the audience here a bit of a talk to each other, and we'll see you back for hard-hitting questions.
I'm back again, thank you. And what we want to do here is we want for the candidates to introduce themselves. So do we have a preferred? Yeah, who should we start off with? I'll tell you what, let's start with, have we got the Prime Minister there anywhere? Let's start with the Prime Minister.
I am not Chris Hipkins. I am at a debate. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
This is Michael Hill. He's not here.
My name's Heka Robertson, and I'm with Vision New Zealand. I'm here.
Hi, I'm Tony Pitteroy and I'm with New Zealand Party.
Kia ora, I'm Chris Norton and I'm with the Greens.
I'm not Emma Chatterton, but Emma has in fact submitted 2 videos which we will see later on in the show.
Thank you very much. There you are. There is our list of candidates.
For the members' bill, so we've asked each of our candidates, you can introduce a members' bill as an MP into the biscuit tin, and it can be drawn out and potentially turned into law. So we've asked them, we're giving them 2 minutes to explain, if they're elected, what would be the first members' bill that they would introduce into Parliament. So we'll go with Bernard first.
All right. By its very nature, a members' bill is therefore is not necessarily party policy, and my members' bill is not party policy. So I'll just make that point first. What I would do is cause alcohol regulation or alcohol to be regulated in the same way that we have recommended that marijuana be regulated. That is, no branding, no advertising, available through government outlets, with limited supply at each purchase. There is a narrative that marijuana is the entry drug to all sorts of dreadful drugs. Not so. Alcohol is the entry drug and does considerably more damage than marijuana does. So I believe should be regulated in the same way. That's my view, not party policy.
Short and to the point. And Hilma.
As I talked on the abortion issues, people know my view. What would be my preferred private members' bill if I was elected? But that's not party policy. That private members' bills have to be okayed by, of course, by the party. I have one remit going forward that is not addressed last convention, and that is a remit to solve the housing crisis. In the Netherlands, we had a Premier A scheme for low socioeconomic people, low-income people to buy their own home. It was in the 1970s when a very left-wing MP, Prime Minister, De Nauw, brought that in. It was extremely successful. It solved the housing crisis. Then they stopped it because there were enough homes, and people, then now they want a very right-wing government, wants to start this again. And that actually, to me, means that this is a very, very good policy. Premier A scheme to have a house. It is a scheme that has to be quite difficult, but you're actually buying a house with a Premier. You cannot resell it for 7 or 8 years. There is a little bit of a stick behind the door that you pay your payments, and after 6 or 7 years, you can buy in the free market and in the free sector, free sector, and a new Premier A couple can buy that house of yours, and it really solved the housing crisis. If we can really put whole Parliament put their weight behind it, we actually can solve the housing crisis, and we can bring to young people the hope to own their own home again back to New Zealand.
Yeah, another phonetic alphabet. How has New Zealand changed since you were a child? Has it changed for the better?
That's a really interesting question.
How long ago was it?
Yeah, 65 years ago. So when I was a child, I actually drove the steam trains on the railway land when the railway was in the middle of Palmerston, and I drove on those steam trains through the middle of Palmerston, and we went out laying gravel because I was with my dad. I was 5 years old with my dad laying gravel on the railway lines through Masterton. So it's changed.
So no internet then?
No internet.
Did you have to ring up the operator and make a phone call?
No telephone. No telephone. We had a telephone box outside our house, and that telephone box, there's a little baby left in there. It was a program the other day on TV1, and that was right outside our place. And that was before I was born. So my mother had 5 daughters, didn't have any sons, so she was thinking of adopting that. But then I came along, so it saved the day, didn't it? Even when I was at university, my first university, I had to do my stats. I had to borrow a calculator because the calculators were like $500 off the office. Yeah, and I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to borrow that off there. I had to use a slide rule to do my calculations, and it took me 3 weeks to do my stats. My second degree, in 1994, when I did my stats, it took me 20 minutes to do the same stats, and I just couldn't believe how much that worked. Now it would take 3 or 4 minutes, bang, it'd be done. It's just incredible how things have moved and how fast things have gone. Yeah, so it's quite amazing.
The bill that I would introduce is extending the time from when candidates are announced to the election from 4 weeks to 9 weeks, because it's just not enough time. And we had evidence of that. I got a call yesterday saying, "Hey, you want to go to candidates meeting?" Okay, or was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, yesterday. So only because Jill just found my name slipping through as a candidate for Umataka. So in local body elections, there's a 9-week time frame, and that gives time for everyone to get prepared and to start moving through the campaign. I'm still trying to get my car sign written, and there's only 3 weeks to the election. Things like that. So it's a simple bill, but it really is just it's a leftover from first past the post, where the small parties just haven't been taken into account as to giving them enough time to run up to the election. And thank you.
So this evening, we've got a couple of questions that we think that you're going to be asking after this evening's show. The first question: will you be able to afford to spend $300 a week on childcare to get the maximum childcare rebate in a cost of living crisis? Question number 2: is it time for the EQC to expand its scope to include climate change disaster cover? And question number 3: if no cause rental terminations are reinstated in 2026, will Hart South residents have to worry about being evicted for allowing a campaigning politician to use the bathroom in their house if their landlord finds out and does not like that politician? Okay, so questions to think about, people.
Yeah, it felt like an educated one. All right, give her, it's 18. Okay, so question A, B, better known as Alpha and Bravo. What are you / your party going to do for the climate crisis?
What haven't we done? The Green Party has put the climate change on the agenda in Parliament for 30 years, and for years. And I'm thinking back to the work that Jeanette Fitzsimons did as one of the first co-leaders of the Green Party. It's important that we address the climate crisis. People in Auckland intimately know this because of the floods from the Auckland anniversary weekend, also with what happened up north and also over the hill there in Hastings as well. But we need to do more. We need to make sure that we continue to bring down our emissions. We must mitigate our emissions, but also to support towns and cities to adapt for climate change, to have that climate resilience, and for us to support local councils to do that. And I also think about this in the wider context of where we are in the Pacific. We often say that we are a family of Pacific Islanders. We are doing all of this stuff. We need to think about it as a region as well, and supporting our Pacific Island communities who are on the front lines of climate change.
upright, candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead the promised land? Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will spin. The battle rages from within. One by one they sleep in.
Back to It's in the Ballot, and now it's time for hard-hitting questions. Computer.
Hard-hitting questions. We're not candidates are running. What does a question? Because every candidate has answered the hard-hitting questions.
Topic issues. So, hard-hitting question number one. Do you think the Regional Council is doing enough in environmental management of the City and District Council's wastewater treatments and disposal facilities? Josephine, you get to go up first.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, it's an interesting question because obviously regional council, it's dictated by regulation. The amount of management they do, it's dictated by regulation, and it's dictated by how the other councils are meeting the standards of those regulations. And often the compliance of that, it costs more to prosecute if the standards aren't met, and that's coming out of our ratepayers' bank accounts, pretty much, and to prosecute any of this. So it's really about evaluating what is worth prosecuting and what's worth just working with the councils to do better within the standards. So I think it's a constant movement and change of how can we better work with the councils to meet the standards, so that our regulations are met, and and then not cost our ratepayers extra money.
Sorry? Oh, Lucas says no sound. Have you got the mute key turned on? And I'll just go and listen to. Okay. That's all right. John. Yes.
Okay, do I think regional council is doing enough in terms of environmental management of city and district councils' wastewater treatment and disposal facilities? What a wonderful question that is. How can regional council manage actions of district councils? They're regulated, they're controlled, but what I do think we don't do, I don't think we look deeply enough into modern methods of wastewater and wastewater treatment, because there are systems which are a little bit more than having wastewater ponds and sewage ponds and all this sort of thing. And we need to be able to improve upon that. There are areas which takes the wastewater and they purify the wastewater and they put it back into the drinking water system. People shudder about the thought of that, but part of London, in fact, recirculate the wastewater. Singapore does it all the time. I mean, there's very important areas here, and I think these things need to be looked at very closely with open minds, and not just because we've always done it this way. That's the big thing.
And I was one of those people who shuddered just then. And okay, Hamish.
It's interesting because Horizons are in a difficult position there, because if you look at Fielding invested into buying a farm many years ago, and distribute it out over land. And so they're more compliant than what Palmerston North is right on the river, because they've used the river and they didn't see it as thing. So no, they're not, because, but it's going to cost. And there's no easy answer on that. The fielding ratepayers have obviously paid more rates in the past to be able to fix their system to be able to be compliant, and Palmerston North have sort of kicked the can down the road, and now it's going to cost. So I would also point out that as a farmer, you know, it's a little bit of a double standard that my wastewater, I'm criminally liable on breaching my resource, and yet district councils don't seem to be.
Okay, Luca, we've got Luca in there. Nick? Oh. Okay. Stacey, please put the chyron on the screen, and if Luca would like to answer the question that's on the screen, hard-hitting question number 1, can we sit there and get an answer? Sorry?
Sorry, everybody. We are experiencing some technical difficulties. Luca is currently stuck on mute, and I cannot seem to pull her into the stream.
I will take a jump from the hostess to the broadcasting computer. And I think probably what it is that the settings on the phone have not allowed, have to click allow the device to work. Have we got a picture? Okay, so might be doing refresher. Well, if Luca does come back, we will get Luca to jump in for continue with the hard-hitting questions. So let's get on to hard-hitting question number 2. Are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position? And get a new random order sheet. John, you get to go first.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether comfortable is the right word to use, but we do have a debt position, and the most important thing is the way you look at the debt and the benefit from the debt and how it's serviced. The thing that worries me about regional council is the fact that they have a fairly large investment in the Wellington Harbour Board, and I'm wondering whether that in fact yields more money than the normal debt costs, because if it does, that's not bad business. But if it doesn't, then that's very poor business, because if they've got capital tied up there, they shouldn't have debt. And so debt needs to be reduced where possible.
I thought I saw, now I'm not sure if it has happened yet, but I did see on the Greater Wellington Regional Council long-term plan was about buying the 15% share in Centreport, which is the Harbour Board, that Horizons owned. I'm not sure if that's happened yet or not, but I do know that was GW's express interest in buying it because Horizons expressed interest in selling it.
Well, I honestly can't tell you that. I'm sure. I have been told that they have a large investment in the Wellington Harbour Board. I don't know whether it's still there or whether it's been bought out or not.
Yeah.
If it's been bought out or not, good on them.
Yeah. Well, it does feel a bit far away from home for those up here. Okay. Now, on my list it has Luca, which Luca's not back. Okay, Hamish.
No, I'm not comfortable at all with the debt situation. You're really kicking the can down the road. And if you look back at previous long-term plans, the debt was actually to be repaid back by now. And in fact, it's increased in a short space of time. And in 22-23, it was 42.5 million, and currently it's reached up to sort of 68 million, and forecast in 28-29 to get to 87 million. So who's to say that the 87's not even right in the future, and that they push it to over 100? But all of this has got to be paid for one day, and we need to somehow start to live within our means.
Okay. Can we try and connect Luca in for the hard-hitting questions? No. It's still showing up as not having an audio source.
She has just messaged our private chat. It's saying it's only allowing her to join without the use of her microphone and camera. So we're not sure what's going on there.
It's probably a setting on the phone that's doing it, because Jordan Waynesborough had that problem a while back as well, and the way the phone will be. Luca, I will ring you from my cell phone, and we'll connect you in for the hard hitting questions after we're finished with Josephine's answer.
To me now, sorry. Yeah, so council's debt, am I comfortable? It's an interesting question. Like John said, comfortable is a really interesting word to use about debt, because if we think about debt at a smaller scale, in a personal level, it's very daunting, but we can't look at the council's debt at a personal level of how we look at debt. It needs to be shared across years, because it's about the assets that we're putting that debt into and how those are benefiting our services and the services the council provides. If we look at our debt, it's about 70 million, and the top number would be 100 million. That's the cap, and we're not there yet, which is great, and it means that our resources are being shared and the burden is being shared across generations. If we were to reduce our debt, it means more of a cost to our constituents, to the rates. It means our services would decrease. So it's essential, and we just need to manage it well.
Okay, I'm going to try it again. The joys of trying to connect people in.
Hey Sam, I can't take the call. I'm currently on a video call.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. We're just live on here at the moment. But
okay.
Now, when you say the video call, it's Sam from It's in the Ballot.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I thought you were someone else.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like, you're on another meeting. Wait a minute, we're with you. All good.
Frantically trying to join on the other one. Okay, cool. Thank you for calling.
So this is how we jury rig things when things go wrong. So let's get your hard-hitting question number one. Now, do you remember hard-hitting question number one?
Hear anything? Sorry.
Do you remember your hard-hitting question number one?
No.
Okay, so we'll repeat that question here. Do you think the regional council is doing enough in the terms of environmental management of city and district councils' waste water treatment and disposal facilities?
A very good question, and I would have to be honest, I don't believe they are doing enough at all. And yeah, I've worked for Horizons Regional Council with resource consents. Yeah, there was a big stack of unconsented wastewater treatment plants. I mean, there's, for a lot of many reasons, rate affordability in those areas, reasoning why they are needing a renewal or not compliant with their conditions. But yeah, I think it's a problem that's been swept under the rug, and I think I would like to lift up that rug and have a deeper look.
Okay. Thank you, audience, for that. Okay, let's. We've just had the other candidates with their hard-hitting question number two, and so we'll get with yours. Are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position?
No, I am not, because I think that there's been things that are nice to have being taken up when there's still core services that are getting neglected. And yeah, I mean, they are selling shares and whatnot to try to pay for debt, but I worry that in the future we won't actually have any assets to sell. And so the increases of rates that we're seeing at the moment could be continue into the future and affecting future generations, especially when you don't have the infrastructure at the moment either that is sound. So there is major issues.
Okay. And while we've still got you on the phone here, let's get hard-hitting question number 3 out of the way. So we figure out what, well, you know, if we can try and get you in for the, we'll figure out a way to make this work. What is your position on retaining the, now I need to, oh good, I love it, Stacey, because I haven't sat there and put the cards right. But yes, what is your position on retaining the Horowhenua District Council's Horowhenua Māori Ward for Horowhenua District Council and the Tonga Māori Constituency for the Horizons Regional Council, and why do you hold that position?
I've got a bit of background noise. I'm very, very sorry about that. So my position on that is, I think if it's going to improve democracy and give minority groups a stronger voice, that is fantastic. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit worrying that we haven't had too many people standing in those positions, but ultimately it gives people an opportunity to participate in decision making.
Okay, you're happy to stay on the phone while we continue the show forward and get ready for closing statements. Okay, no problem. We'll keep the phone call alive. Okay. Next up, we will kick off with Josephine.
With the last question.
Yeah, with last hard-hitting, yes.
I believe that, yeah, we should definitely keep the Māori wards. It not only is it, it's making strong inclusive representation, it makes for better decision making. Te Ao Māori views encompass environmental stewardship, which aligns with what the regional council is about. So why wouldn't we want that at our table? It enhances our work, it brings more perspectives, it brings relationship building, it brings in the iwi perspective of our environment. There is no disadvantage to having the Māori wards there. There is a disadvantage if we don't have them there. We have a duty to uphold te tiriti. We have a duty to uphold iwi representation on our councils. And why are we picking out this one ward? That's a question back.
Okay, Hamish.
I talked a little bit about this earlier on one of the earlier questions, and I'll just add to it. I won't rehash over what I previously said, but if you look at Horizons community outcomes, one of their aims is to have a respectful and mana enhancing relationship with iwi and hapu. So, you know, you are getting a bit of a double whammy with Māori seats as well. And I just wonder whether that is necessary if you've already established that relationship as your one of your community outcomes. And I would also point out that there is a that Waramu Te Awawi is actually in the Palmerston North what's the word I'm looking for?
Constituency?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, John. And was elected of his own merit, and he represents Māori people very well too. But I do understand that you know, we are after votes. You know, so as a minority, it is a little bit harder. But that you could say that about a lot of minorities. Yeah, so I would point that out.
Okay, John.
Yeah, thank you. It's an interesting question again, and I think we must understand that the iwi or the Maori, quite frankly, are our indigenous people, or they're classified as our indigenous people, and as such, we need to respect their point of view. They are closer to the land, they consider themselves to be guardians of the land, and they have very strong opinions about that. And I think those opinions should always be listened to. The other thing to look at here is that we're not giving them power, we're giving them a seat at the table to express their view, and their views deserve to be listened to. Their views are valid, and therefore we must always listen to them. So the seats themselves are quite a good idea, because some of the iwi, in fact, do not exercise their vote under the normal system, and this way the iwi principles are looked after.
Okay, I'm going to try and reconnect Luca back in because the phone call just dropped out. And we'll get Luca to kick off with closing statements before we get the rest of us just while we got this jerry-rigging going.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, yeah, Gavin dropped out. We're going to kick off with your closing statement first, so then the next time you drop out, we haven't got a problem.
Awesome. That's
Yep.
a great idea.
Okay, so you kick off with 1 minute on why you should receive. Now, is it two? Horowhenua has 2 ticks.
2 seats.
2 seats, so 2 ticks. Yes. Why should the voters receive one of their? Why the voters should give one of their 2 ticks to you?
I believe in democracy. I believe in listening to the community views. I also believe in thinking about future generations as well, and I think that we can deliver more value for our communities than what we're currently doing, and it's really important what the regional council stands for, and I want to try to implement that better whilst staying within the budgets and having a sustainable rate fee. It shouldn't be increasing year after year. That is not sustainable. So yeah, I'd really appreciate a vote, and I'm always there to listen to what others have to say. So yeah, happy for people to give me a call at any time.
Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for coming in via telephone to finish off the second half of the show.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
No problem, and safe journeys back home.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye. Okay, and now I'll put a random list order thing up that, come on, give me an order. Oh, great. I love it. I even made Luca first. Hamish, you get to go second.
Look, I try to bring a balanced and practical leadership to sort of any role. I was previously on the local school in Foxton as Board of Trustee Chair. I was on there for about 7 years, and you know, we work with each other on a board, and we share ideas, and we come to decisions. But everyone has a say on there. It's a bit of a natural fit for me, having a rural background. You know, I've seen. You know, I work outside. I see the realities of a natural environment and what you sort of deal with. So it's a role that I think I would be good in. And have a business background as well, and so I think these big decisions that are coming up of where we're going to spend money with the limited pool of money, but also I think we're going to have to get central government to come to the fore a lot more and start sharing revenue, and that's basically what I'll put out to voters. So if you could give me a vote, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, John.
Thank you. I am standing for Horizon Regional Council because I've served 9 years on the Te Awahau Foxton Community Board, the final 3 years as chair, and I understand the governance factor, and I understand some of the challenges that face our area, and I'm very supportive for the people in our area. I've also spent 15 years in China as a foreign expert in both agriculture and education, and understand the bigger picture as well. And I think that's very important, that you can't just look at the minutiae, you have to look at the big picture and how it's going to work. The combination of governance experience and wild experience. I've been a dairy farmer. I farmed ostriches as well. So I've had a very wide experience in the agricultural aspect. I've dealt with people. I've been an industrial psychologist. So I care about our people. I care about our area, and I want to put forward the opportunity for our people to contribute towards the governance. Thank you.
Josephine.
Thank you. I have a background working with council effectively. I have a background of engaging with the community. I work within a whole bunch of different communities, our rural communities, our elder communities, our rangatahe, and even our central communities. And I want their voice to resonate through our council chambers. I want their voice at the table so that we know what we can do to make our community impact the best impact it can be. I'm here to improve our public transport. I'm here to tighten the budget so that our ratepayers aren't having to tighten their budgets. I'm here to make sure our infrastructure is resilient and that it can last generations. And I'm here for our environmental health and our climate change action so that we have a future for our environment, for my grandchildren and their grandchildren, as I keep saying. I want the community voice to resonate, and I want to be the vehicle for your voice. So a tick for Josephine is a vote for your voice. Thank you.
And just before we disappear, because I'm a small business owner here, I own a coffee cart. It's called Bean Here, and it is nothing in relation to that business in Livermore that some people used to mistake me with and do credit card inquiries of why their transactions happened at my business when it was their business, because, you know, when you typed in Bean Here, what came at the top of Google. So if you were to come to Bean Here at Newtown Market on Saturday and order a coffee because you had to go to Wellington Hospital or some reason to make yourself there, what type of coffee would you order? Hamish?
Flat white.
John?
Exactly the same, flat white.
Josephine?
Unfortunately, I'm lactose intolerant, so it would be an oat flat white.
Ooh, so you've got the lactose one. I've got the component that's only in cow's milk, but not in buffalo or goats. I know. Yes.
Expensive, but lucky.
Yes, you are.
can have cheese. I can't have cheese.
Well, there is something great. If you buy vegan cheese and vegan butter at the moment from the wholesaler, it's cheaper than the real deal.
That's
at the
good
moment.
to know.
Yeah. We can exchange some details at the end of it. Okay. Well, thank you for the audience for joining us. We'll be back here at 7:30 for the Maranui General Ward of the Horowhenua District Council, which I believe will have a bit of an excitement that's going to be there. So we look forward to seeing you then at 7 p.m. Have a good evening.